5 most disrespectful defendants ever in court. Bass Webb. Bass Webb was charged with attempted murder in Lexington, Kentucky, and we will explore his life leading up to his conviction. What transpired leading up to it all? Video footage depicting Bass Webb trying to run over 2 employees at a jail where he recently served time is shown below. When his first court appearance begins, Judge Katherine Cochran is about to recuse herself because of knowing these employees. But instead, Webb shocked everyone when he surprised everyone by spitting on her before promptly being kicked out from the courtroom by Cochran. However, Webb was no stranger to legal trouble. While incarcerated, he was charged with the murders of 2 separate girlfriends. While found guilty in one instance of killing, now stands trial on an additional count. Webb displayed no regret during his trial, and the jury quickly found him guilty, leading the judge to sentence him to life imprisonment for his crimes. What's even more remarkable is his appearance before court with a list of people on his head tattoo that included 3 rats crossed out. It shows just how dangerous this individual truly is to society. Bass Webb was an alarming individual who committed numerous violent crimes and showed no remorse for them, including creating a list of people he wanted dead, which shows his threat against society as a whole. Darian Gardner. Darian Gardner, a former member of the Savage Life Boys, a street gang based in Davenport. Gardner was involved in multiple shootings and robberies, including one at a dice game in December 2016 and at Hotel Davenport in February 2017. Along with his fellow SLB members, he physically assaulted and robbed a man, opened fire at his vehicle, and fled the area. In February 2017, Gardner and several other SLB members initiated a physical altercation with a man they believed had disrespected their gang at Hotel Davenport. During this incident, one man lost his life while another was injured. Gardner had committed these acts with the intent to maintain and increase his position in the gang, according to law enforcement. Back in July 2022, Gardner pleaded guilty to various charges, including assault with a dangerous weapon and the aid of racketeering, causing death and attempting to take a life in aid of racketeering. He was sentenced to 37 years and 6 months in prison. This sentence was imposed consecutively to 2 previous federal charges against Gardner that he is currently serving. After his sentence is served, Gardner will have to serve 5 years of supervised release. The U.S. Attorney Richard D. Westphal said, "This dedicated and long-term investigation highlights our commitment with law enforcement to combat violent crime. The families and friends of the victims in this investigation continue to feel the pain that acts of violence can inflict. We will continue to pursue every available law enforcement tool and partnership toward the common goal of community safety." The Davenport Police Chief Jeff Blade also expressed his relief over the sentence and said that he was proud of the collaborative efforts and dedication and persistence to bring closure for the victims and justice for those responsible in the 2017 incident and several other similar incidents. Investigators from the Davenport Police Department worked diligently on Gardner's case for several years with the U.S. Attorney's Office of the Southern District of Iowa and other collaborative partners. We hope that justice has been served for the victims and their families. Violence and gang activities have no place in our communities. We should all strive towards creating a safer environment for ourselves and our loved ones. Conrad Schaefer. Conrad Schaefer, an 18-year-old man, was recently sentenced to life imprisonment after engaging in an extended crime spree that claimed 2 lives. On June 26, 2013, Schaefer killed 17-year-old David Guerrero as he approached Kissimmee Bus Terminal to catch a work bus for Kissimmee, Florida. Schaefer, at 15 at the time, also pleaded guilty to an additional first-degree charge related to this murder. Schaefer could have received up to 40 years in prison. Instead, his judge handed down 2 consecutive life sentences, one each for each first-degree charge against him. At his sentencing, he apologized to victims' families. He told them, "He was 15 at the time. My actions weren't right and don't reflect well on me, so this won't alter anything about how you perceive me or affect your views of me in any way. Just do your time, and I mean sorry about everything I've done." Schaefer's apology drew mixed responses from victims' families. While some forgave him and hoped for his redemption, others believed harsher penalties should have been administered against him. Schaefer had apologized profusely before his trial began. Nevertheless, the judge felt it necessary for him to pay his full share in terms of penalties for his actions, so issued the maximum sentence for them all. Schaefer's case serves as a stark reminder that our choices have consequences. Thus, it's vital we accept responsibility for them when making choices that affect us personally and affect those around us. Lee Rios. Lee Rios was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole following a guilty verdict from a jury for first-degree murder for killing 18-year-old Kenneth Lopez during an attack in 2015. On Friday, an additional conviction of second-degree assault by Rios was upheld against him as well. Hampton Superior Court Judge Mark D. Mason issued Rios with life imprisonment, following jury deliberations for one full day before arriving at their verdict. Rios' sentencing will provide some comfort to Kenneth Lopez's family members who had been devastated by his sudden demise. Assistant District Attorney Max Bennett read an impact statement read to them from which expressed their sorrow that Kenneth no longer lived among them. Rios' crime was an act of brutal violence which resulted in the tragic loss of young life, having an enormous ripple effect not only on those directly involved, but also throughout their community. Such tragedies often affect not just immediate family, but also psychological well-being of all affected by such attacks. Rios' sentence serves as a warning that violent crime won't be tolerated, and those responsible will be brought before justice. Our legal system bears responsibility in holding those accountable who engage in these heinous acts responsible. Notably, while Rios' sentence provides closure for his victim's family, it cannot undo all the harm caused by his crime. Kenneth's family will still feel his absence deeply. Hopefully his sentence brings them some consolation, knowing justice has been served. Cordarius Dorsey and Kentavious Jackson. Cordarius Dorsey and Kentavious Jackson were accused of participating in the Slaughter Gang when they robbed and murdered Solanumi and Jallo at a Marathon gas station on Gresham Road near Gresham Avenue in Gresham Township, Philadelphia County, PA. Dorsey also belonged to the Young Slime Life gang. Surveillance footage captured the incident that ensued at Jackson's gas station when Jallo arrived. Dorsey quickly approached Jallo's vehicle while Jallo attempted to close its door, but Dorsey forcefully opened it instead, leading the two men into a struggle that ended with Dorsey overcoming Jallo and taking his life. Jackson approached Jallo afterward and secured some belongings before they both fled together, with Jallo later succumbing to injuries suffered at this incident site. Unfortunately, Jallo succeeded while Jackson would later encounter both suspects from this crime scene, after which Jackson would leave in unison as they both fled together. Jallo eventually succeeded as well due to being struck down from being overpowered during this encounter, and died from these encounters with these individuals that ensued from these men, taking his life and leaving Jackson as witnesses at this scene and its aftermath despite their attempts. Dorsey was identified through several eyewitness accounts and anonymous tips as matching one of the suspects, according to detectives who explained social media evidence was instrumental in his arrest and conviction. Their phones were confiscated upon arrest, where investigators discovered images linking both men to each other. Dorsey himself had posted an incriminating social media video the day prior to the robbery, wearing shoes similar to what the suspects wore in the footage from the crime, sending messages implicating himself, further incrimination of suspects from this investigation. Dorsey himself had posted the day prior an incriminating post on social media wearing sneakers similar to ones worn by suspects during footage taken of this crime. Additionally, Dorsey sent incriminating text messages to investigators about both suspects from social media as well. Authorities believe the suspects already had knowledge of Jallo and knew he often carried large sums of cash with him, thus making this attack planned and deliberate. Dorsey was found guilty on multiple criminal counts during this trial and also faced separate RICO charges related to his affiliation with YSL. Jackson and Dorsey were each sentenced by DeKalb County's court system to life without parole plus 5 years for killing Jallo, who was both married and father to 6. Tragically, an innocent life was taken due to an act of violence. We hope that Jallo's story serves as a reminder that it's best to seek peaceful solutions when possible, rather than resorting to physical force in solving conflict situations. Our condolences go out to Jallo's family at this difficult time. May they find peace. Thanks for watching the video till the end. If you liked today's video, subscribe to our channel and hit the like button for more updates.